Ashe, give thanks, rise up. Okay, with no further ado, because you know, I'm a schedule person, let's get on our schedule. The first question that I'm going to ask you, Sherlock, please can you give a small introduction, a little synopsis of book one, and then can you briefly talk about book one?
Well, as I was saying before, book one is about my life as an ex-drug dealer, drug user, drug smuggler, and my prison sentence for drug smuggling. Mainly about my drug use, talking about what the drugs done to me, what I put my mum through, my girl through, the destruction, what comes with it. Not just if you're using the drugs, also if you're in the life, because a lot of death comes with it, a lot of heartache and pain, and just my story of what happened to me in that life there.
In book two, you talk about detox. Can you explain what it is about and why you went?
All right, at the end of book one was when I got arrested by the police, and the woman in the police station, she put me onto this drug place, and it would look good that if I do have to go court, that I'm trying to do something about my addiction. So anyway, I went to this drug dropping place in Camberwell, and I spoke to this drug worker named Dennis, and when I told him about how much trouble I was in and I'm on the drugs and I'm trying to get off it and I'm got people looking for me and all that sort of stuff, when I finished talking to him, he looked at me and he said, "Junior, your life is in a crisis. Have you ever thought about going to rehab?" Now, through the years of selling drugs, I've heard about rehab because a few of my cats them went to rehab, but I never really saw myself as that bad because I always had my mask on. I'm looking clean, I'm driving, phone's ringing, so I'm not really thinking, say, I'm that bad. So after he said, from what you've told me today, your life is in a crisis. So what would you say about going into detox? Now, I'd heard about detox as well through the years of selling the heroin to my cats them, but I always thought that detox was somewhere where people on heroin go, but I got to find out that also people on crack cocaine go there as well, and if you want to go onto a rehab from there, then you can go onto a rehab. So basically, I liked it, and I said, yeah, I'll try it out. And it took me a few weeks to get in there, but I got into the detox. Detox is a place where you learn certain things to go through with your addiction. Like certain little things that I used to wonder why I can't stop. I say, I'm done with it now. I'm not doing it no more. And then the next day, I'll be back on it. And that'll be through certain chemicals in your brain what ain't balanced. I'll also learn about triggers, like things what make you want to use. Like you might not even know, like for some people like who take heroin, them just seeing the foil is a trigger. Some people who smoke crack on a pipe will see a can of coke as a trigger. So I learned all these things, but I never knew none of these things before. Also, being around people who are on drugs and sitting down and relating with them, because we all got the same sort of story and we all want to come off the drugs, and that's the reason why we're there. Some of them don't stick it out because they're on heroin and the cold turkey is enough to go through. A few of them stick it out, and I was one of them what stuck it out that time.
Okay. In part one of Diffrent, you went on your first smuggling to Jamaica. 5 years later, you've gone back. Why and what was Jamaica about?
All right, I had a court case going on, and that's why I went to detox in the first place. So as I bust the court case now, I started to find deep with it, fault with this day program what I was doing. That's what they referred me to after the detox. I started seeing myself better than these people. They don't know where I'm coming from. They don't understand me, and they're still in my own negative frame of mind. And a brethren approached me before if I wanted to go yard and bring back some weed, what I got caught for 5 years prior to it. But because I was in so much debt and I got back on the crack again, and I said, F it, I might as well go on a move. So that's how I ended up going back to Jamaica again and smuggling.
In chapter 14 of part 2, you went to Colombia, Bogota, and Brazil. Now, most people know that places like Cuba, Colombia, and them places ain't a place to go and traffic drugs. Those are one of the high penalty countries, and you actually went and done that journey. Can you give us a little bit about that was the experience between Brazil and Colombia, Bogota?
All right, how I ended up in Colombia was basically I done 2 weed runs for the man them who I started working with, and true they liked the way I move, and I was so eager to keep going, but they didn't know I smoke. So when I approached them again, because basically I'm gonna mess up my money again, and I can't make no one know. Say,
Voila, when you say mess up your money, tell the people then you bond the money you were smoking.
Yeah, basically.
And this is the addiction that you don't even
I've gone on the first move to yard, and I've come back, said I ain't gonna bun no more. Had a good look at Christmas, and then after the Christmas it just all went pear-shaped again, and I started bunning. Boom, messed up the money. So I can't make no one know, say I've messed up already. I just got 7 grand off that move. And I've messed it up in the space of 3 weeks. So I can't make no one know, say I've messed up this money. So I've gone back to my bridge in Jules and said to him, yo, shout the man them and see if I can go on the next thing. So anyway, they lined me up to go on the next move. I went on the next move, I got through again, messed up the money again. So I've gone back to my bridge in Jules and said...
Messed up the money means bun, smoke out the money. Smoke out the money. Go ahead.
So boom, I've gone back to my brethren now, and I said to him, yo, chat to Jimmy, cause I need to go on the next move. So when he rang Jimmy now, he put me on the phone, and Jimmy said to me, boy, that move's done. Right about now, we've got a bigger thing going down in Colombia. So when he said Colombia now, my first was, this ain't no weed thing. This is a coke thing now. So remember, I'm still bunning these times, so I'm not really in my right mind. So anyway, I asked him how long I'll be going for, and he said 1 week. Then I asked him how much I would get paid. He said 15 grand. So to me, 15 grand for a week's worth of work, I wasn't thinking about I might get caught or anything like that. Right about now, I'm high. So I said to him, yeah, I would do the thing. Even the night before we was going to Colombia, for the whole night, me and my brethren's bunning, prang. To about 6 in the morning, till I got to sneak back into my girl's yard and jump in the bath and sweat all the crack out of my system before she wake up and see the state I'm in. So I've done all that, my brethren picks me up, then we decided to get one more thing on the motorway. This time I'm dressed up in my Giorgio Armani suit, tailor-made Attache briefcase, Gucci loafers, 25 grand US on me, going to do a smuggling move in Colombia, and I'm there bunning crack on the motorway after being bunning all night. So by the time now, so anyway, at the third one, I'm just going with the motion. I'm feeling nice at the moment, car I'm still under the influence of crack. But it's only when I reach Colombia now, and true with the first night we got there, the man who I'm working with, the people, there was a Colombian wedding. So I said, don't bother change or have no sleep because we're going to go out. But to tell the truth, I was tired because I've been bunning for the last 2 nights. Then I ain't slept on this 12-hour flight. So I'm exhausted. So anyway, we went out, about 3 taxi loads of us. And then while we're driving, just imagine, say imagine from Kennington Police Station all the way to Croydon. Every 10 yards or so, there's like soldiers in full army greens and long guns. So it looked like a war was gonna break out, but at the same time, people are walking about like it's nothing. So I asked the people then, why there's so much soldiers out? And then the man said, that's to keep out the guerrillas, because where we are staying is a wealthy part of Colombia, and they kidnap Westerners. And it was only then when it hit me, what the ras are you doing in Colombia?
You've got a chapter in part 2 of Diffrent that's called Big Stinking Glock in My Face. You've titled it that. It's a chapter in the book and I've read it. Can you just give some honesty and some insight into that particular chapter in the book, that you've put it in the book, what it's about and why? Give an idea, a little synopsis of what it is.
After I've been to Colombia and Brazil, basically I got a new link, and this link was called Zonan. And I don't know this brother from nowhere, but this brother just checked for me, liked the way I'm moving, but he didn't know I smoke. So basically, I've done a first circle run for him, and I'm gonna get this story right. I've done basically when they first met me, they checked for me, innit? So while I was in yard for that month there, my man looked after me good, got me a Chris apartment, give me money all the way to go and party, but he never know that I used to be on crack. So basically, when I would normally go on a move, that would be my time to dry out, fix up, and get back on a level. So when I come back with the food now, I'd give the food to his people them, and they would deal with it. But the people who are dealing with the food for him, they're taking long with his money, and he's fed up with all these people. Like every time he tries to give someone a break, they keep messing about with his money. So he was saying he just wants someone back in England who he can trust to deal with the food. So the next move now, some mix-up happened with him and his link, and I managed to persuade him to give me the food. 2 keys of crack, and I smoke. Suicide. But anyway, so yeah, he gave me the food, and when I reached back to England, he told me to drop one of the keys to his brethren, and I must sell the other one and take my money and send it to him. Basically, a key is like, of them food there, 30, 35 grand. And all he got back out of that was 5 grand.
Question is, why was that?
This wasn't no normal crack. Yeah?
And you know what, as much as we're laughing, because this is somebody's actual journey, and like I said, his blessing is that he can come and talk about it. A lot of brothers and sisters do not survive the crack cocaine journey. If they're not in a prison or a mental health institution, they're walking in our communities like we don't know them. So very few people, this is a man who spent most of his life being trusted with people's money and business, and out of 35 grand, 30 grand bunning on crack. And people really can't tangibly contemplate that. But that's the journey.
This link now, he gave me chance after chance after chance after chance. And I've messed up by now, I've messed up a good couple hundred grand. And he's like, he just pissed now. And we went out one day and we drove to one deserted place, and he just backed the Glock on me. He had a licensed gun, he just backed it on me and told me to come out the car, and he just had enough of me. But at the same time, when he drew the gun on me, I wasn't even scared, because as much as he had enough of me, I've had enough of myself as well. So I sort of wanted him to kill me anyway. Then after, he just told me to get back in the Jeep. He said, fuck me one more time and you don't know where I go on. So that's how I got the Glock in my face.
During some of your smuggling, you were working with corrupt custom officers, immigration officers, police officers. So can you talk about some of the corruption in terms of the network? Because we know that our people are corrupted. So when we talk about drugs being imported in the country, it's not just Jamaica, it's how the level of corruption within the institutions themselves exist. And this is a brother who was working with police officers, detectives, custom officers that were ensuring that his drugs were being bought back when he carried that. I'd like you to touch on that for me, please, Sherlock.
All right, let's go back to the first smuggling move. Basically, these men I'm working with, they were well connected. Now, a brethren of mine in the book, it was called Links. And Links went on 2 moves. He got through on the first one, and he went back again, but this time he got caught in Jamaica trying to smuggle 18 kilos of cocaine out of Jamaica. This is the same people who I'm working with. So, when one day I went out with him and I asked him how this move go on in, because all now I haven't chatted to him to find out how the things go on in. And I spoke to him like in an English accent. Said like we take him man for some dickhead and try boy me off with, yo, my youth, that's easy yourself, no worry about that. So I just had to harden my voice to him now and say, so what happened to Links? Boom, as he hear that now, he drew me aside and said, you know what, Links? And he started spitting like some bitch, but his story of how it really went. So he told me, don't watch nothing. When it's your time, he said, what Links didn't do, he said that Links didn't follow his instructions, and that's why he got caught. But Links told me something different 3.5 later when he got out of jail in yard. So, but all he told me to is make sure I follow the instructions, I'll be okay. So it's only until the day when I'm leaving now, I called him aside and said, what about these instructions, what you're telling me about? And he said to me, just cool, my policeman friend will tell you what I go on. I mean, I looked at this man and only I realized he was a plainclothes fed. So I was saying, everyone called him Boss Jimmy. So the first time I said, that's why you're calling your boss, car. You really got up the airport and everything as well. So now my confidence grew to work with him. So basically the plainclothes policeman brought me to Montego Bay Airport, got me a trolley, then he pointed through the window at which desk I should go and check in. And then when I've done checked in, I must come back outside and wait with him. So I pushed my trolley now, got to the front of the check, and I've dropped my trolley on the, my suitcase on the scales. And then like I've got 45 pound worth of grade. So my suitcase is heavy. Like when I've gone to pick it up, it ain't budged. So I have to like, and drop it on the scales. So the man behind the desk now looked and said, what you have in here, sir? So he threw me off key now. I'm expecting to get no answer, no question, because I've been directed to go there. So I had to think of something fast. So I said, dub plate. Because you know, dub plate, metal heavy. He said, dub plate. Me, I got personally check this bag here. So from there now, I'm booming. I would have to sign the paper and my hands all shaking. I had to grab this hand. It's mad, it's bait. So anyway, after I've checked in now, I've gone back out to the plainclothes policeman, and all the while I've been giving him the yard twang. Yo, you don't know everything, Chris, and where. So I've gone back out to him now in bare English. Yo, Bridget, the man said that you might think heavy, gonna search the thing. And while I'm talking to him, he's got this smirk on his face. I think, what's he smiling for? And then after he says, yo, Mayo, let's cool yourself. I fuck him, I fuck with you. So after I've got the humour of it still, you get me? So basically, anyway, what was paid for was the weed to get into the airport and onto the plane, and there's a tag what we paid for. And then when the weed's in the drum on the plane, when they call back the plainclothes policeman to say it's okay for me to go back into the airport. So when I reach Heathrow now, for once I'm not moving beta or anything, when I reach Heathrow, all I've got to do is make sure that my tag's showing, because this was just after 9/11, so they were checking for bombs and everything, and once I ain't moving bait, I should slide through and give thanks on that one I slide through.
And that's the level of connections in terms of corruption that works in order to ship drugs in and out of countries. In one of your chapters, you've got a chapter called Curacao. So I'm going to ask you first, can you explain a little bit about this island? And then can you explain why you were on this island?
Okay, Curacao is a Dutch colony. And it's basically like, see, black people from here will go yard. In Amsterdam, they go to Curacao. So while I was doing my moves, something happened at the airport and we couldn't work from Jamaica. And then my brethren said to me, with the link I've got, he said he's got a next island where I can work from if I feel up to it still, and it's called Curacao. So it's about half an hour flight from Jamaica. Now, I didn't know at this time that Curacao is a well-known place for smuggling. So basically, when I reached Curacao now, I checked into one little hotel, and then I went back out on the ends, and I was ordering a drink or something, and there were some guys who come from there. And he heard my English accent, and he called me and asked me where I come from. Yeah, all the noise down. He asked where I come from. So when I told him England now, straight away he goes, you're gonna take it to belly, you're gonna take it to belly. So I said, huh? He goes, yes, you're gonna take it to belly, you're gonna take it to belly. So I said, what? He goes, yes, you gonna take in the belly. So I'm saying, what kind of Bay Island is this? Although I have come to smuggle drugs, the man just see me, I know I'm from England, I say, you come for smuggle drugs. So I said to him, no, I ain't. And he goes, yes, you take it to belly, you take it to belly.
For those of you that know, book one ended with Sherlock owing 50 G's in debt at the time, and all kind of politics was going on. Book two's out. What can we expect from part three? Because for those of you who didn't know, it's in a series of trilogies over a 10, 15-year period. So what can we expect from book three?
All right, part one basically is from I'm born up until I'm 30 or 31. Part two is only a year and a half. And basically that's me going on 29 planes there and back in that year and a half before I get caught and go back to prison again. Now in part three, I'm gonna be more explaining what prison was like for me the second time round. I don't really elaborate in part one what prison is really like and what the regime is and all them sort of stuff there. So I'm gonna take you through my whole prison experience. Then I've got to write about what happened when I came out of prison, when I couldn't travel, so I started sending people and receiving a lot of drugs through the post. Then when I got caught 2 years later again, I went back to prison and decided to let me just try and write my life story, and then me coming out and what life has been like since I put my book out.
How's the promotion of the book been going, book one and book two? Since you launched, since you've written, how has it overall been going?
To be honest, sometimes don't get me wrong, sometimes I feel like I wish I never started it. 'Cause leaving from that life to this life and then going out there and trying to persuade people to buy your book. And you got to talk to them, and some of them make you get up about a 5-minute speech and they say, okay, thanks. And then they just walk off. You know, I've been out at Covent Garden Market from before Christmas in the freezing cold. Sometimes you might make a little £20 and a good day I make £108, and some days it rolls. But it's very hard. And what my book really needs, it needs some proper sponsorship, it needs some proper funding. Basically, I need a publisher or an agent, but I've been doing okay by myself, but it's very hard. I'm just about getting by. But I ain't leaving it alone, and I'm just gonna stick with it, because I believe, say, it must soon drop into the right hands, and we can take this to a next level.
Ashe. And also, like with Stephen, Ashe, when you're used to making your money by the drugs running game, and you're used to having fast, speed, ready cash to live the lifestyle you want to live, it is a dramatic change, not only economically, but mentally and physically, to be earning your income in a totally different way, where your income is dependent on people around you to give you that little £20 or £30 or £100, whatever you're going to make. So it is a big change. If you're a shotter on road and you know that you've got papers running left, right and centre, that you can just blink your eyes and do what you want to do. So big rise up to Sherlock for even stepping forward in this way. That is the end of the interview. So like to say thank you and give a big rise up and hand to Sherlock.
Blessed all the while, one love. Hold on there, Swaby.
Another question, we're going to take another question. Yeah, Sis.
Swaby there.
Sherlock, how do you intend in educating the children by your book?
Basically, by reading my book, from part 1, you should hear say that I never had no education. My reading and writing was very poor. And I used to muck about in school just to not have to do my work. And I started bunking school from a very young age and not realizing that this was gonna affect me in the long run. And because I started DJing on sound system as a youth and started to get a name for myself, I felt like I belonged now. So it was like, F education, right about now I'm doing this DJ thing, not realizing how important education it can be when you get older. Because enough youths, when they've gone into this life, if you've got education and you see the mix-up, what comes with it, you can say, you know what, I got my education, I'm gonna get out. But if you ain't got no education, you're kind of trapped in it, and it could end up taking your life.
But also, many children wouldn't read books. So how do you intend to get it across to them? Because they're not going to read. I've got teenager children. I'll force them to read, but not every child.
I hear what you're saying still, but the amount of people who have come to me and said, my son don't read, my daughter don't read, they read the whole book, is mad. All their children are reading it.
We do need to get our children into is picking up books and reading. The only way to learn is not just the internet, but sometimes to pick up a book. You had a question, Rashid? Last question?
Yeah, Sherlock. Nice one, bro.
Yes, Rashid.
Again. The great Malcolm X said, if you want to hide anything from a black man, you must hide it in a book. Seeing what you've done, your journey, and you put it into book form, what would you say was like the major hurdle? Like you spoke about your problems with education. So for you to go and put a book together, I'm intrigued by that. Because I know the most men who got crazy stories, but they would never sit down and put pen to paper. So what was it about you that made you elevate yourself to this level? That's what intrigues me about your journey.
Well, basically, when you go jail, you can't just laze about in your cell. And they make it as like a priority that you must pass certain things like level 1 and 2, maths and English and them sort of things. So you have to either have to work or do education. And if you do a test, and if you don't pass the test, then before you can go and work, basically you have to go and do education. So anyway, I had to start doing education, and then each time from me going to prison and doing education, that's how my reading and writing improved. Now, through the years of being on the drugs, a girl approached me, my Bridging baby mother said she wanted to write my story. But when I approached her to do it, she said she don't want to do it no more because it sounded like I'm going to end up dead. But that time, that's how it was, you get me? I went to detox, and I went detox again. And I met this woman in there, and her mum was an author. And I was telling her my story, And then she was really intrigued by it, and then she goes, "You need to write this." So I tried writing it, and then when I read it back to her, she goes, "You didn't do it the same way as you told me." So basically, when I went back to jail again, it's like 3.5 years I got to do out of 7, and after I got sentenced, I said, "Let me just try write this thing." And I must have wrote about 16 pages, and I read it out to 2 men who were partying in the prison, and I could tell by the reaction that they were genuine and they really liked it. And then from then it just carried on. Each prison I went round to, they had heard about me from before I got there. I had enough youths when I read the book and all them thing there, and it just escalated. And then I just come out and just stuck with it, and I'm there.
Give thanks. And just for the sake of those young people who are in jail currently and have been in jail, just so that you can let our ones know, how are other prisoners of all age group responding to your book since you've written it?
Boy, right about now, I spoke to a friend of mine the other day, and he said your book's growing in the prison still. You got man, there's certain, I've done a few talks in prison still, and they've even put a thing in the Guardian how they the youths them like my book the most, and me and a brother called Addict they really took to the books, and they've requested me to go back to the prison, but prison politics to get back in there. So yeah, it's been going on nice still.
And I know that you've been doing 1 or 2 talks and workshops in some schools with some young people as well.
I haven't done no schools yet, but I've done a few colleges.
Work groups and colleges.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's something being taken from this experience and being given back, so ones can heal. This is why we've got the books here today. So we give thanks for that kind of mindset, that switch. Okay, it is that time, and we're going to end the evening with our Sherlock doing a bit of his rapping, spoken word. The lyrics are "Never gonna smoke again." That is what he's going to speak about. That is what he's going to talk about. And then he's going to take the last opportunity. For those of you that want to get the book, you can take that opportunity to sign. Before we do that, I'd like to say thank you for coming this evening. Thank you for your time, your patience, your interaction, and your involvement. I hope you all get home safe and sound. Safe travels on the grab.